Mackie, and welcome back to the Sports Channel. It's been a long, and I mean, God knows how long that I've done a channel on my sports, a video on my sports channel. It has been too long since I've done it. I think I haven't done it since the 60 Super Bowls in 60 days, and I should have done it at Super Bowl 60, of course, when the Seahawks just absolutely dismantled the Patriots. I could have done the stats and I could have done all the narratives, but I just didn't. And then I kind of drifted away, of course. I did more League of Legends content, of course. I did a lot more things. So yeah, it has been a long time since I've done a channel. And today, in my return from my absence, I decided to focus on a specific league. Welcome to the EFL Championship. Now, you notice that this is the EFL Football League Championship Cup, which is, by the way, being won by Coventry City, by a country mile, of course, and they are going to the Premier League. Now that the first team that being promoted to the Premier League and the champion already sorted out, we have to figure out who is going to be into the second Premier League promotion slot and who is going to play for that Premier League promotion in via the playoffs. The relegation is kind of feel like a long shot. Oxford United needs to win their game and then have to like a mile to win the whole thing, which is virtually impossible. So I think the relegation is pretty much set in stone. And Sheffield Wednesday, and Leicester City being relegated is painful. And then you know, Oxford United being relegated is not the surprising, but I focus on those two teams in the bottom two because it's shocking because of mismanagement and all the kind of stuff. It's chaos. But we have to focus on the big stuff, the promotion stuff, to see who is going to entertain in the biggest league in the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome everybody to the championship final day preview. And we're gonna find out how will all the promotion and playoffs shake out on this incredible final day, which will take place 3 days time at the time of recording. So let's just look at all the teams that are going to be contending on this Saturday, and we're going to start with the battle for second position, and we're going to start with Ipswich Town. Now, Ipswich Town is now second place in the championship, which is, by the way, the top two get into the Premier League alongside Coventry. They are standing at 81 points with 22 wins, 15 defeats, and 22 wins, 15 draws, 8 defeats, with a plus 30 goal difference. They will face off against QPR at Portman Road this Saturday, and it's simple. All they have to do is just win. Win and get in. I mean, it's a no problem in the grand scheme of things, but with all the pressure, the noise, and the fact that we got there's two more games that's going to determine their position, of course, and they're all going to play in the same time. You can say that it's easy, they can win it at home. They haven't played at home in like a long time. In fact, they played like 5 away games in the last 6. Drew with West Brom, drew yesterday in an epic matchup with Southampton that denied Southampton their chance of the playoffs, which, by the way, coincided with the same time as this epic Bayern Munich PSG matchup in the Champions League. So it was a crazy day of soccer. And then, of course, they beat Norwich in the Suffolk derby and then got pumped by Pompey after that. So it's been a long time since, Ipswich has played in a home matchup of this stature. But now that the pressure is on them, they're at home, they're in comfortable territory, but it's not going to be easy against a QPR team that has nothing to play for, pretty much in the mid-table slush, and it's going to make it really, really nervous. Now, manager Kieran McKennie is going to lead this team, of course. He already led a team to the Premier League, first time in the 21 years, back in last season, when they sadly finished in 19. So they were one and done by there. I think they were challenging the top 3 in like most of the season up to this point, with them and Millwall and Middlesbrough, which we'll get to them later. Their leading scorer is Jack Clark, who, by the way, scored his 16th goal yesterday against Southampton at the Dell. Their home ground is the Portman Road. So I think right now you can say that if you were to put it in a Polymarket odds, which, by the way, I'm not sponsored by Polymarket, just to clear, I would say that Ipswich are like 75% chance to get in. It's a really tough one with, the fact that you have a chance to be promoted, the fact that you need to win, the fact the pressure is going to get to them. the nerves, everything like that. It is going to be absolutely chaotic to say the least. So, the simple thing for Ipswich is to win and in. But if they don't, one of these two teams may take their spot from them. The second team I want to look for is Millwall. Now, Millwall is a really interesting team. I'm going to scoot over here. There you go. Yeah, scoot over there. Now, Millwall is in third place, 1 point behind Ipswich for second place. And they have 80 points, which is 23 wins, 11 draws, 11 defeats, with a plus 13 goal difference, compared to Ipswich's enormous 30 goal difference. Which means even though Ipswich, lose that game against QPR coming up on Saturday, they cannot afford to draw that game because of the goal difference going to be, too much for them to overcome. So the simple thing is to win and Ipswich loses. That's the only task they got to do. They will face off against a Oxford United that's probably going to be in the relegation zone or probably going to be in relegated, of course, unless they can pull up a massive goal scoring, which is pretty much not happening. But we never know what will happen. You never know what happens, especially in championship football. Their last Premier League and First Division appearance was in 1989-90 when they were finishing in 20th. The season before, when they were promoted the first time, they were finishing 10th. So after that 10th place finish, they then went to 20th in the bottom, and they haven't been there since. In fact, they haven't been in the Premier League since. Alex Neil is the manager, of course. Their leading goal scorer is Femi Aziz, who, by the way, is also the leading assister. And, of course, he is a midfielder, which means their striking options is kind of like not as much limited. So it's kind of like him and pretty much no one else. But they gotta have to find a way to score goals, especially when you realize that if Ipswich is getting in trouble, the pressure is going to be on them and Middlesbrough to trying to see if they can put some pressure on Ipswich furthermore. This is going to be a huge tax for Millwall. This is probably the biggest game Millwall has ever played since their FA Cup final when they got smacked by Manchester United back in 2005. No, not 2005. 2004, I guess. So this is probably Millwall's biggest game to date in terms of like trying to promote themselves in the Premier League. They are playing their games at the Den. And for anybody who don't know, consider where Crystal Palace are right now. They and Crystal Palace, Millwall, are not a happy couple, to say the least. I'm just going to put that thing out there. All right, the next team, in case Ipswich stumbles, are Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough are fourth place in the championship standings, 2 points behind Ipswich for second place. 79 points, which is 22 wins, 13 draws, 10 losses, and plus 25 goal difference. And their next matchup will be away to Wrexham, which is going to be funny enough because that will be where my next team is as we see who will play in the playoffs. Now, their last appearance was in 2016-2017, which is 19th. And Kim Hellberg has been the manager for this team since last year around Thanksgiving, which is the 25th of November, 2025. Morgan Whitaker is their top scorer at 14, and their home ground is the Riverside Stadium. And their scenario is pretty much clear-cut draw. A win, and Ipswich lose, and Millwall lose or draw. Because if Millwall were to draw and Middlesbrough wins, I think they'll overcome by points. Yeah, I think they'll overcome by points. I think I remember Middlesbrough way back in the 90s when they had like incredible players, of course. I also remember them having Gareth Southgate as their manager. That was I remember Middlesbrough. And I also remember them make it to the UEFA Cup final after winning the League Cup final the year before when they faced up against Sevilla and they got beat. But that was Sevilla. That was Sevilla. Sevilla is a really good UEFA Cup team, of course. And the fact they haven't been there in like a decade, it's just wild to me. It's just wild. And the fact they're in this mix right now is going to be huge. So that is the teams that we'll be fighting for the second automatic promotion. Now it is time for me to show you the teams that will be fighting for the promotion playoffs. Now, in case many people do not know, the promotion playoffs are pretty much simple. 3rd to 7th will qualify. Yes, actually 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Yeah, 3rd to 6th will qualify. Now, this will be the last ever year that they'll have the 3rd to 6th qualified for the playoffs. By next year, they'll expand it for about 2 teams, of course. So this season will be the last season they will implement the third to sixth rule, in which one of these teams will make it to the playoffs. Actually, it's gonna be like the first team being promoted, and then the second to thing. I will have to research and do that. But this will be the last time we get to see third to sixth make it to the promotion playoffs. It is simple. Fifth will meet fourth, third will be sixth, and then of course the two-legged semifinals will be taking place, and then the winners will go to Wembley, and then the winner of that matchup will go to the Premier League, along with the two promoted teams that are coming up. So with that being said, let's go with Wrexham. Yeah, wow, this is going to be a lot of hate going on. You love him, you hate him, you like Ryan Reynolds sometimes, you hate Ryan Reynolds sometimes, you love this club for their Hulu series Welcome to Wrexham sometimes, you hate it because of the Welcome to Wrexham sometimes, but you know what? They're here. They're here, and they are ready to see if they can actually make the, can I say Hollywood ending, of course, of making it to the Premier League? Although you can say that the fact they've been bankrolled by two certain actors, I don't think it's a Hollywood or Miracle on Ice kind of thing, the same way with Leicester City does. But I digress. They're in sixth position, which, by the way, I told you about the third and sixth two-legged playoffs thing. They're on 70 points with a 19 wins, 13 draws, 13 defeats, with a +4 goal difference. They will entertain Middlesbrough at the Stoke Carras. That is the racing ground, by the way, in case many people do not know Welsh like I do. That is in Wrexham, by the way. And all they had to do is just simply win and in. Win and in, and that is it. Nothing more, nothing less. They have been occupying in the four tiers of English football, not the main Premier League, not the main league for years. They have never played in the Premier League nor in the first division. They have been occupying in the second, third, fourth divisions, of course. They even gone lower at the National League, of course. And enter Phil Parkinson, who's been managing his team since 21-22 when they're in the National League. He has gotten them from National League when they had an incredible fight with Notts County, and if you think that was incredible. York City versus Rochdale on Saturday was that was an ending. But before that, it was Wrexham and Notts County battling out for that shot of making the promotion, and they did it by the barest of margins. And then they made it through League Two, and then made it to League One, and now they made it to the Championship. And now, while their chances of making the promotion is pretty much out of it, they will have a shot, of course, of making to the Premier League via the playoffs. But they have to take care of business in order to win. It's not going to be easy against a Middlesbrough team who will also find it for promotion as well. So that would be my favorite matchup of the entire day. Is like, that would be a huge matchup for all the Wrexham fans, and all the Welsh fans, because if they were to make it to the promotion playoffs and win the whole thing, they would become the third Welsh team to ever make it to the Premier League besides Swansea, Cardiff. That's all. Josh Windass is your top scorer with 15 goals. That's pretty much all they can say. And also consider the fact that they actually make Chelsea sweat in that FA Cup tie, which goes to show you that they are ready for the big time. They are ready to challenge with the elite. In fact, hell, they even have a preseason match with Manchester United on the back door, of course. So if Wrexham cannot make it to the Premier League this season, I'm not saying they're gonna. They will get to the Premier League. One day they'll get to the Premier League. They got the infrastructure, they got the money, they got the style, they got everything. They're gonna make the Premier League. But why not now? Why not now in this current moment? All they have to do is to beat Middlesbrough, and that is it. But if they don't beat Middlesbrough, then Hull City will take that chance. They're in 7th place, tied with Wrexham behind on +1 goal difference. 70 points with 20 wins, 10 draws, 15 defeats, +3 goal difference, and it will face Norwich City, which, by the way, in the mid-table kind of slush. The scenario is kind of complex, but pretty much simple if you're a Hull fan. You need to win or draw, and Wrexham loses. You do that, that is pretty much in the playoffs. Or, if both Hull and Wrexham win, Hull needs to win by at least 2 goals in order to take Wrexham by goal difference. You notice that I put the goal difference right there besides the win, draws, loss column, because I think that is the key metric that will determine who will make it to the playoffs. In fact, it's pretty much the same thing when we're going right now with the Premier League, that goal difference could be the difference between winning and losing. So this is very, very key if you're a Hull City fan, is that you're facing against a Norwich City team that has nothing to play for, but again, it's going to be really, really difficult, especially with all the nerves going on. I think that Hull City might do it. Might is a key word. Their last Premier League appearance was 2016-17. I think I remember then when Hull City were promoted in the Premier League the first time and give Arsenal the business and give Manchester City the business, and then they were kind of teetering to avoid relegation, and they avoided relegation, and then the following season they went completely downhill, of course, and they haven't made it back since. Sergej Jakorovic is your manager, of course. Top scorer is Ollie McBurney, 15 goals. That's a name, of course. And then finally, they're playing in the home ground of the MKM Stadium, which, by the way, hosted the Hull FC rugby league team in the Super League. So this is a multi-purpose stadium, and Hull City can pretty much host both. We'll find out if Hull City can win it. And also, by the way, shout out to HITC Sevens and Alfie, who, by the way, is a big Hull City fan, and I think he's been supporting this team for a long time. And he's been telling you how really fractured this Hull City team is. So to see his team beat in the mix for a chance to make the playoffs is a huge thing. It's a huge thing. And then we get the outsider. We get the miracle outsider in Derby County. They're in 8th place, 2 points behind Wrexham. 69 points, which is nice, but not nice in the grand scheme of things. 20 wins, 9 draws, 16 defeats, plus 9 goal difference. And they'll face off against Sheffield United at home. It is pretty much simple. Win, and Wrexham and Hull lose and draw. So that means they have to win their game against Sheffield, and both Wrexham and Hull City lose or draw their matches. It's a Hail Mary, but I think they can do it. Now, their last Premier League appearance is one that every Derby fan could forget. Pretty much figuratively and literally. 07-08, in which they finished with the worst Premier League points total in the history of the league, which is 11. It was atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. Before that, they used to be like one of the most prominent teams in not only all of English football, but all of Europe. Hell, even Brian Clough used to coach the team, of course. So this once proud league team has been pretty much falling off the cliff the last couple of days. They play in their games in Pride Park. They used to play in the baseball grounds, of course, but not anymore. Their manager is John Eustace, and their top scorer is Carlton Morris. So that is all the promotion playoff candidates to fight off who's going to play in the promotion playoffs, alongside Southampton, who has already clinched because of the loss, because of the drop points against Ipswich. And, of course, the two teams that are Ipswich, Middlesbrough, and Millwall, who do not get into the last promotion spot. And those playoff matches will be taking place around midweek, of course, in May. So that will be interesting. One key important information, that all the games will be taking place at 12:30 p.m. GMT, which is 7:30 a.m. on Eastern Standard Time. And if you have like CBS Golazo or Sky Sports News around the UK, there is a chance you can watch it. If you don't, you can try to find other means to watch it. I just put it in quotations because I don't want to get arrested or anything like that. So anyways, that concludes this portion of the whole thing. Talking about championship, talking about promotion and playoffs. It is probably the most exciting time to be a football fan. We're into that month of like champions being crowned, hearts being broken, and triumphs being taking place. So anyways, if you like this whole thing, please like, comment, subscribe for more videos like this about sports and anything like that. I have a other YouTube channel talking about League of Legends and all kinds of stuff. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.